Joining us now to discuss Loop Capital's Alan Gould. He does have a buy rating on the stock, 130 price target. Alan, Parks was just not great. Operating income in particular. How serious a problem does Disney have given its importance to their overall net income?
Good morning, David. Thanks for having me on. It is an issue. The parks are slowed down. It should not be a big surprise. I mean, we knew after last quarter that things would be slower, and then we knew after Comcast, your parent company, reported that there had been an even further slowdown of the parks business. They will be soft for a few quarters. If the consumer is slowing down, Disney had raised prices aggressively at the parks, it'll slow down. But about 60% of the business is domestic parks and cruise ships. Cruise ships continue to do well. The international parks continue to do better. Paris, of course, is having a little bit of an impact this quarter versus the Olympics. And I just think this is a few quarter issue. I mean, we wish we had a little more certainty as to when the slowdown would end. But over the long term, this is a phenomenal business. Yeah, it's really a duopoly with Disney the leader, Comcast, the Universal second. And the beauty here is that you have the content business, which used to generate billions of dollars of EBITDA of earnings, and frankly had been losing money last year, lost money the first half this year, is finally turning around. It's generating at $1 billion run rate the last 2 quarters of this year. And streaming goes from losses to profits. So I think any weakness in parks business will be more than offset by gains at streaming and content.
Yeah. Right now, the street, Jim and I were talking about it earlier. What happened here? Again, to your point, Hugh Johnson, the CFO, used the terms normalization. Nobody walked it back. That was months ago. You had the Comcast numbers, and yet people still seem surprised, perhaps by how steep the decline is. I mean, we are talking about the September quarter going from up 20% in OI to down 5%. That is a pretty big drop, Alan.
No, it is a big drop. And on the last quarterly call, they had guided that the September quarter would be up double digits. So, yeah, that is a big drop. I don't think it was 20%, but the guidance was.
What are your expectations when it comes to streaming? Now that it is profitable, what do your models look like in terms of what the ultimate margin is going to be there and what we can expect in terms of long-term profitability from this very important business?
I'd say over the long term, Netflix is Netflix is the leader. I don't think anyone quite gets to Netflix's margins because no one has the scale that Netflix has. But I could easily see this becoming a 15% and certainly potentially even a 20% margin business over the long term.
Alan, within the theme parks business, what do you attribute the weakness to? I just look at some of the commentary that we've been receiving from travel and entertainment CEOs, including Airbnb CEO Brian Chesky last night, who talked about how the percentage of longer-term bookings have declined, which means Americans are opting for shorter trips. Is that playing out in theme parks as well?
Yeah, certainly. I think it's a combination of the general overall economy, the consumer tightening, the stimulus money running out. In addition to Disney over the last couple of years, fairly aggressively raising pricing. So it is an expensive vacation to take a family of 4 to Disney World or Disneyland.
Alan, sort of the anchor of the bull case, at least one of the main ones, was this expectation about free cash flow returning back toward pre-pandemic highs. $8 billion for the fiscal year has been the guide. Now, Hugh Johnston more or less sat by that today and said we didn't change guidance. Therefore, we don't have anything new on that. But there was a shortfall in the third quarter. They have a lot to make up in the last fiscal quarter. Is that just about, Inside Out 2 and Wolverine and Deadpool box office flowing through? Or how much confidence do you have they're going to hit that?
I mean, Hugh did not aggressively confirm that $8 billion number, but he made it sound like they're going to be at least in the zip code of the $8 billion number. And yes, I mean, the box office receipts from Inside Out 2, I mean, they're starting to receive those already. But Wolverine will do $1.2 billion or so at the global box office. Moana will be out there. They'll be generating a fair amount of working capital benefits that should help get them pretty close to that $8 billion number.